This is our room in the Jeremiah Hotel in Frankfurt. This is the first place Jonathan found for us to stay. It's very nice. Very nice, has a good view, which I'll show in a minute. One thing Jonathan has come to appreciate is the see-through window into the bathroom. So when I am taking a shower or bath, he can peek at me. Here is the bathtub. And as you see, there is the window, and oh, through the window you can see the TV, and there's Jonathan already peeking. Has a nice shower. Very big, lots of controls. There is a view of Frankfurt. It seems to be a very significant building on the landscape here. It's a quiet evening in the square. Many of these buildings, including this one, are new. Most of Frankfurt was destroyed during the war, and these are new in the last 40 years since Jonathan was here the first time. We came in on the train from Frankfurt to see this Gothic cathedral. Very imposing and impressive. And always these cathedrals are under construction. This is another part of the church. More towards the back. This is the Cologne Cathedral, and it is a 13th century Gothic cathedral. All of what defines Gothic is in this church. Its imposing size and grandeur were meant to make men feel small in comparison to the glories of God. It's a huge church with many windows and detail, gold inlays, pink marble. It's interesting to think about what this church would have looked like originally before it acquired its dark patina. It's beautiful, it's intricate. All of the design work is amazing. And to imagine what it would look like all white instead of the dark, as what we get to think of dark Gothic. Now it's afternoon and the sun is out, and you can see how magnificent this church is. As Jonathan said, these are the workers and the workshops below. Picture of the bridge with all the locks and people marching along the bridge to see the locks. As it is with many things, I think this idea of the lock being attached to the bridge is had its day and overdone. Pink seems to be a preponderance of the lock. It's a symbol, but I often ponder how many of these locks really do serve their purpose. How many of these locks would be undone if the people came back? I think I'd want to come back with bolt cutters for some of the people I've known in my life. I would not want a lock on a bridge in perpetuity to symbolize my mistake. There's another church, a very interesting steeple. And then this was reconstructed as a little village square. And this is the fountain for the square. And here is where people have a good time. So in Germany, you have to get married in the town hall, and then they get married in churches. So in Germany, as in Japan, they get married twice. Once for the ceremony and once for the dress. This is a little market near the hotel. We're going to be going to the bigger market later. It's very nice. Very nice vegetables. These eggs are interesting. I haven't seen red and yellow eggs before. And then we have our normal eggs. And here's some more eggs. And this looks like noodles. Oh, all the ingredients you need for making spatzel. And here's some little baby eggs. And here is the egg seller. This is the stock exchange. Very quiet. Probably everyone's inside. It's Friday, so it's a weekday, I suspect. We ate at a place called The Bull and the Bear last night that's just behind me. And right here, across from the stock exchange, is the lunch counter. Looks pretty good to me. We're trying to get to breakfast right now. Many Frankfurters. We're going to, maybe I've already mentioned, we're going to the market later. And here is your breakfast wine bar. Jonathan's checking out the wines, what he'd like for a nice breakfast wine. And there are people with the wines down here. Okay, and here's the Frankfurt Starbucks. I wasn't going to do this, but yes, I have to take a Starbucks moment. Here I am in Frankfurt, and of course there's a Starbucks, but that's not the real reason I'm doing this. This is unique. The pretzel sandwich at Starbucks. You will not see that, or I haven't seen it anywhere else in the world. The takes look particularly good too. And here's the sandwiches. Not standard Starbucks fare. And continuing. And here we are at the market in Frankfurt. It's another beautiful market. We've seen many markets all over the world. Everything's so colorful here. The displays seem much more appealing than I see in some places. And of course we have your chickens, many chickens, many meats, sausages. This kind of gives a perspective of the market from the second floor of all the different booths. This is Heidelburg Castle. It's Saturday and we finally got here. This is the first day we've had a car and everything went well. But this is a beautiful, old, impressive castle. I wonder if there's a damsel in distress up there. I have a feeling I am going to see many castles on this trip, and this is the first one. So I can't overdo the castle pictures. As you see, it is raining. There are many people here today. Jonathan is working with his camera as usual. Compared to the other castles I've seen, this is a pretty nice castle for its age. You can almost imagine, just redress these people in medieval clothes and imagine all these people walking around the castle, looking up at it, wondering, being amazed at the size and the beauty, waiting to get a glimpse of the king, queen, noble. This part of my video may show the scope of this castle from the down there and then going up over here. Over this way. castle has a very elaborate apothecary museum. Why this castle in here? I don't know. All these different scales and glassware. Very elaborate here. These rooms just go on and on. This is Germany's version of the wine tasting room. It starts over here where we were with this big barrel. And we go quickly around this way so you can see back in there. When they taste wine, they taste wine. Jonathan just explained that several times a year they do a reenactment of the burning of the castle. This is Heidelburg down below. People from the castle down on the kingdom. This is our first city outside of Frankfurt, Heidelburg. It's a beautiful town, still looking like an original German town, not destroyed during World War II. We have finally found our way to the square in Heidelberg. We had a bit of a problem making a wrong turn and getting lost, but if you're going to be traveling alone, then you better find the enjoyment in getting lost. There are crowds everywhere these days, crowds and crowds of tourists. It's Sunday morning in the plaza and people are out walking, enjoying the morning. It's finally sunny and you can hear the church bells in the background. The interesting thing here this morning is what these men are doing. I think they're making some sort of sand sculpture. This is the Frankfurt Opera House. It was restored recently, and they say the inside is beautiful. On one side we have the square with the rides, and they're also colorful. And across from the rides is the Opera House. We're now going to see if we can go inside. It's Sunday afternoon and we're in Bacharach, and this is our hotel. There are many tourists, but that's okay. I understood that was part of the deal. It's a great day for taking pictures and making movies. This is Bacharach. It is a gorgeous August morning. This is one of the towers. And this is along the river. And there's another tower down there. They date back to the 14th century. This is an English park along the river. Dates back to the 1890s. This monument is three gentlemen, Victor Hugo, Clemens Brentano, and Heinrich Heine, sitting at the table drinking a glass of wine. This region is known for its Rhine wine. Oops! And there's a fourth gentleman who's just joined the party. He's all ready to pick up a glass of Riesling and join these celebrities. Yes. With the, I think Clemens is Britannia with the Italian. Oh, the bird on his head. Up on the top of the hill there is a castle, which is now a youth hostel. We are now on the boat and I am trying to dodge all the people searching for chairs. The purpose of the boat ride is to see the castles and the little towns all along the way. There's a castle right up there. This is the first castle on the boat ride from Bacharach. And this castle up on top of the hill is a hotel. These little towns, each one has its own personality, and they're all beautiful in their own way. We're still in Riesel. Below the castle is the town, and in the background is the boat announcer messing up my film. We're at the Reinsfeld Castle, and it's nice. It's very empty, but it's quite challenging. You can see the rugged steps and the entryways, and as we go, I'll show you more. These are remnants of the castle that goes back to the 12th century. It was built to guard the river and collect taxes, protect the tax collectors, really. They will go to many lengths to protect tax collectors. I have made it to the top of one of the towers, and this is the view from up here. You can see the river and the town down below. And here's the view from the other side of the tower. Across the river is the Tower of the Two Brothers. Once that castle was built, they controlled the river, and so everybody who passed up and down the Rhine River had to pay taxes. Yesterday, when we came back, we saw a sign. It said, "Day off." When the Germans take a day off, they take a day off. Nobody was at the front desk. Nobody was in the restaurant. They left a sign on the front door that said, "Day off," and ring bell if you want service. But the service you got was through with a voice through the intercom, just basically letting you in the hotel. After that, you were on your own. So there is a tip for the traveler. This is a fascinating building. It's just huge, and it's still intact. You could survey the entire area from this castle and see what was going on the river. The castle had to be self-sufficient, so they had herb gardens. The herb garden was part of the castle. It took care of food and medicine as it still does today. This looks like the kitchen. It is a real castle. It is one of the only remaining castles intact in Germany. The kitchen is huge. You can see they kept their things in trunks, and this is a window seat where the ladies sat to do their sewing. This is an example of more of the window seats. This one's more elaborate. This is the Great Hall where they did their social activities. This is the toilet. It was hung out over the wall of the castle. And then the rains washed it away. The most interesting part of the chapel is the ceiling. And of course, every castle had to have its torture chambers. These are examples of the rack and things that were put on the head. And if you were very lucky, you could be in the stockade with your legs and arms through those and nothing below your posterior. And another comfortable torture apparatus on the wall. The stairs were rather challenging to negotiate in those days. They were also shared with horses. We are in Koblenz, where the Mosel and the Rhine meet. So this is the point. Similar to the point in Pittsburgh, where the Allegheny meets the Monongahela. This is a statue of Kaiser Wilhelm I, who was declared Emperor of a united Germany in 1871. One big statue of Wilhelm. You can tell by the size of the people and the entire facade surrounding it. This is what you call an out-of-the-way place. It is not on a river, it is not in a city. It is in the middle of nowhere. I have once again found where the middle of nowhere is. They say this is the best of all the castles. We shall see. We came over hill and dale to get here, so now to see what is inside. Because this castle is privately owned by the original owner, the Katz family, it is in the best condition of any castle. This is the Basilica in Trier. It was reconstructed because it was destroyed during the war, but the original dates back many centuries ago. This is the cathedral in Trier. Trier is known for the oldest Roman ruins in Germany. This is the market square in Trier. At one end of the square is this old church. And going around the square, it's not as busy today as it probably is on a weekend. Next we'll go down this way to explore. I'm still on the search for the best pastries in Germany. This is the other side of the square. And the church. Okay, now I am in the real market square. That was just a little square before the square. What gives it away is all the people and all the shops. And of course there's the McDonald's. One thing, they always have good Coke and clean restrooms. This is the famous Roman gate in Trier. It is very, very old. It dates back, it's supposed to be the oldest Roman antiquity in Germany. Built when the Romans divided up Europe. It's a very big stone structure. It was made completely without nails.
Without mortar.
And mortar, as Jonathan just told me.
Together with nails.
Oh, it was held together with nails. Okay. This is the other side of the Roman gate. And the front of it shows how once was a church. But the palm tree is kind of in the way for this picture. Notice the H&M. This is in direct contrast to where we're staying in Beilstein. It has no shops. You see Pandora, Subway. The problem with an outdoor cafe is you may sit right down by a smoker. This is a very beautiful church in Trier. In contrast to the starkness of the Roman Basilica, you have all this ornateness. It's a beautiful ceiling. elaborate cross and statues. Here is somebody with a sword. I always like that particular statue with the sickle and the skeleton. It reminds you that this time is short and you always come to the same end. And right next to it is the golden gates to give you hope. And here is the perspective of the entire church and how big it is and beautiful. This is the hamlet of Beilstein, and it's truly a hamlet because the total population is 180. The structures that are here date back, way back. It's a small town that was very isolated until the 1900s when there was a road. The only way you could get here was by the river. And of course, the man in the castle above me collected taxes as people came down the river. There's one of the tourists taking some film and people having dinner. And there's a wine tasting going on down here that I can't seem to get Jonathan interested in. Right now, besides having cafes, the people survive on wine and running little hotels that are very charming, including the one we are staying in tonight. This place has a storybook quality, and it had nothing to do with Disney. They made it all themselves. It even has a castle at the top of the hill. That is in ruins now. It used to be the castle that overlooked the river and collected taxes as the boats went by.